Let me challenge you and let you know that doing a mock interview for medical school will completely blow your mind. What's up, guys? Dr. Ryan Gray back with another video about the medical school interview. And this week I want to talk to you about the importance of mock interviews. If you haven't watched our previous videos about medical school interviews, go check those out. And for our next few videos where we're still talking about the interview process, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of new videos coming out every week. So today I want to talk to you about the importance of mock interviews. Now, a lot of students will hear that word mock interview and go, why would I do that? That's so stupid. I know how to talk to people. I've interviewed for a job at McDonald's, at the Gap, wherever you have worked in your early life, and you think that you don't need to do a mock interview. Let me challenge you and let you know that doing a mock interview for medical school will completely blow your mind. The medical school interview is different than other professional interviews, and so you need to prepare for it. I don't care if you are a great communicator, the medical school interview takes practice. Now let's think about it in terms that most of you will understand. This silly test called the MCAT. Most of you may be watching this have taken it, maybe you will take it. It's a test that makes sure that you know how to take the MCAT. And students who do well in their classes and are great standardized test takers, like they crush the ACT, they crush the SAT, that doesn't mean they're going to do well on the MCAT. What do most students do? Hopefully, if they're preparing for the MCAT properly, what do? They take practice tests. They take mock MCATs. And so just like you will take practice full-length exams, you should take practice interviews. And that is what a mock interview is. So hopefully you're at a school where your pre-med advisor or your pre-health office or your career counseling office will offer mock interviews specifically for pre-health, for medical school specifically. Now, obviously, if you're pre-PA watching this or some other pre-professional school, the healthcare interviews are going to be a little bit different than other professional interviews. So you have to be very careful and make sure that you are getting an interview that is going to cover the types of questions that you are going to get and give you feedback specific to the types of schools where you are going to be interviewing at. Now, if you're at a school that doesn't have access to mock interviews, that's okay. Hopefully you have a friend or a mentor who will be able to sit down with you and ask these questions and give you feedback. Now, in my book, The Medical School Interview, Guide to the Medical School Interview, I have some tips for mentors or people who aren't pre-health advisors to give you feedback, to be able to ask you questions and give you feedback. So you can check out the book to get that as well. If you shadow, if you have a physician in your family, if you have a physician mentor, maybe your PI, ask him or her to see if they will be able to do a mock interview with you. If worst case scenario is you don't have access to anybody and it's just you and you're out in the middle of the boonies, that's okay. All you have to do is take your phone, set it up, hit record, and just practice answering questions. And then watch yourself and give you feedback. Now, I do have a platform for this. It's called the Anytime Mock Interview platform, where you actually log into your computer, log onto the website, and my website will record you through the webcam. It'll be me asking you a question, and then your webcam will record you answering that question. And then you can watch yourself. There's a custom assessment there, and you can easily share that with friends, mentors, family members as well, so that they can fill out that assessment too. But at the end of the day, you need to do some mock interviews to practice, to prepare for your interview. Now, one of the common mistakes that students make when it comes to preparing for their interview is practicing too much, which kind of seems a little silly, right? I'm sitting here telling you, you need to practice, but you also can't practice too much because you don't want to come off as super scripted. So what I recommend when you're preparing for your interviews and the answers to different questions is to bullet point your answers. What are the highlights of what I want to talk about? Why do I want to be a doctor? Here are a couple of the highlights, and then let your brain fill in the fluff and the rest of that as you go. Don't memorize your answers. It comes across as very, very bad and not a good way to communicate and connect with the interviewer. So as you are preparing, going through your mock interviews, the goal of a mock interview and the goal of practicing isn't to answer every single question possible. Now, in my book, I have 600 questions, right? I don't expect you to have an answer for all 600 questions. What I do expect and what I do hope for you is that you are prepared to answer any question. You have the confidence that you can answer any question, that you have the confidence that you will respond appropriately. And if you don't know something, either say you don't know it or take the time to think about it appropriately without rambling on for 5 minutes before you finally admit defeat. Your goal is to be able to answer any question, not to have an answer for every possible question. The same thing rings true with the MMI. A lot of students want to see 4,000 different MMI scenarios. You just don't need it. I have a few scenarios in my book. I have an MMI book coming out later that's going to have more scenarios in it because that's what students want. But again, you don't have to try to think about and work through every type of scenario. Your goal with an MMI mock interview is to understand the process. What is it like to read a scenario for a couple minutes? What is it like to go into a room and have that discussion with an interviewer or an actor for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes? What is it like to go from station to station and freak out about the first station and try to reset yourself for the next one? In the next video, we'll talk about MMIs more in depth, so don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified of more great videos. And don't forget, if this is the first interview video that you're watching, go back and watch our previous ones for more information. Hope you have a great week.